to me and his channel.
What's up, it's your boy LOE Visuals. I'm back with another video. How our day going? Hope y'all vibing, y'all chilling, y'all enjoying y'all day, y'all a productive day. We back at it. Before I start, make sure I smash like one, smash like one, smash like one, smash like one. Want to roll to 10K subscribers? Hit that subscribe button, turn post notifications on. Want to find me on any other platform? My link tree is in my bio. Follow my X at Visually. Follow my TikTok at LOE.Visual. Follow my Facebook at LOE Visual. So let's talk about it. So, George Kambosos versus Richardson Hitchins is happening this week. I want to give my prediction on it and talk about it a little bit. You know, they're supposed to be fighting Saturday, and you know, this is going to be the first title defense for Richardson Hitchins at 140 for his IBF title. You know, he's coming off the win against Liam Paro. You know, and then we got George Kambosos, who's not coming off a good win. You know, a very unimpressive performance in his last fight against some guy. He didn't look good though. I do know that. You know, it didn't look good, and you know, George is just really riding high off of his big TO win. You know, and I said that a long time ago. George Kambosos beating TO was gonna make him a lot of money, because people are gonna always be willing to go and fight George Kambosos and put their name on their resume. And you can be like, oh, it's just George. But George beat T.O., and T.O.'s a name, so technically that makes him a name. You know, George was a unified champion, 3-belt champion. He got that on his resume. He's gonna always have those belts at his home. Those three or four titles. There should be 3. You know, now maybe 4, because it should be the ring title too. So he should have those 4 titles, you know, with him. And there's nothing you guys can do to take that away. So, you know, George Kambosos is basically, you know, making a lot of money by fighting guys and good names. You know, he fought Devin twice, fought T.O. You know, he fought Vasily Lomachenko. You know, that's good money for George. Those are big fights, even if he's the B side in most of the cases. But you know, I think in the Devin Haney first fight, he was the A side. He got paid a significant amount of money, and now, you know, he's just making names off of challenging for, you know, world titles, and you know, guys want to add that name to his resume, so their resume, you know, so George is benefiting from it. You know, he hasn't really looked good since being at 140. If you just ask me, you know, I think his best days are behind him. You know, cause him beating T.O. was him catching a lick at the right time. You know, T.O. was the perfect lick for him. You know, a guy that really can't box that well, really really rely on his athleticism to, you know, get him wins. And George isn't, you know, at 35, he wasn't the best athlete, but he wasn't a shit athlete. So, you know, he was able to contend with T.O.'s speed and quickness, and you know, that's how he made that fight competitive. Now, when we get to the Devin Haney's and the Richardson, these guys are a little bit more athletic, so you know, it kind of kills that gap. And these guys can actually box better than George, so you know, the skills George looked like he has, it doesn't look like that in a fight with Devin Haney, or you know, a guy that can Vasily Lomachenko, guys that can really box. He really doesn't look that well. Now, Richardson Hitchins, you know, Richardson Hitchins is a low output guy, very technical, very skilled. You know, on paper, he should be, you know, the favorite, because this is his natural weight. He's the younger guy. He's the champion. You know, this is him adding a, you know, name to his resume to build his resume, basically. This isn't, you know, a 50-50 fight right now, if you ask me. I think it's more leaning towards Richardson Hitchins, you know, being that George isn't really a 40-pounder. He's more only at 35. And he just moved up to 40. So, you know, I'm going to give the edge, you know, to Richardson Hitchins in that department. And I just feel like, you know, Richardson Hitchins got more to lose at this spot. You know, George has made a lot of money in his short term, you know, because he's been around not long, but, you know, in his little 2 years, 2-3 years, he's made a lot of money. Now, this is Richardson Hitchins starting to get to the money, you know, because if he really wants to start getting big money, he has to beat he has to beat a guy like George Kambosos. He does. If you want to start getting those title fights, those big names, you know, you got to beat these type of tests and get these type of tests out the way so, you know, you can get those other guys in the ring, which, you know, the Keyshawn Davises, the T.O.s, the Devin Haney's, because those are all the fights that Richardson and Hitchins wants. But you have to go through this little small, because, you know, Richardson Hitchins, he had a situation where he was signed to TMT at first. You know, that didn't work out. You know, still had I guess, you know, the relationship didn't work out, but they left, you know, on a good relationship, on good terms. Boom. So signs with Eddie Hearn, becomes a champion. You know, in all honesty, you know, this is probably 2 or 3 years too late. 2 years too late for Richardson Hitchins. You know, maybe a year and a half too late, because in all honesty, he came in around the same time as Shakur. I didn't think he was going to get a title right around Shakur's time, but I thought, okay, maybe a year after, he should be there. It kind of took Richardson Hitchins a little bit longer, you know, because he had to grind his way up. But, you know, as far as the fight, yeah, I just think, you know, it's going to turn into a boxing match. It's going to be slow. And I think, you know, Richardson Hitchins is going to be able to control, you know, the fight with his jab and with his boxing ability. His size is going to be a lot, you know, he's going to be the stronger guy. And I think he's the better boxer. You know, I think he's a better athlete, and, you know, I'm leaning his way to get the win. You know, so if you ask me who I like, who I think is going to win, you know, I think it's going to be Richardson Hitchins by UD. You know, I don't think it's going to be a stoppage by Richardson Hitchins. He hasn't shown me, you know, anything as far as, you know, him being a dominant puncher, or, you know, the hardest puncher in the world. I think he's going to rely on his skills, boxing skills. You know, he's going to move around a little bit. Not too much, but, you know, he's going to give fast the 412 if you ask me. I don't think it's going to be no stoppage, you know, unless it's, you know, George throws in the towel. That's probably the only way we see a stoppage, but I don't think so. I think George is a tough guy, and he should be there all night. Even though I don't think he's going to win, he's going to, you know, stay upright, and that's what I think. But, yeah, let me know what you guys think in the comment section. You know, George is getting another crack at a title shot, you know, and that's what we probably should get on. You know, if George loses this, is he still, you know, able to get another title shot like this? I think if he loses this one, you know, they'll probably start making him work for these title shots, because now, you know, George basically didn't really have to do much to get this title shot with Richardson Hitchins. But I think if he loses this one, you know, it's going to be hard for him to, you know, get another title shot just like that. He's going to have to get a big win or something to get his name back there. But right now, it's not looking like that. You know, I think Hitchison is tough, especially for George. I think it's a tough matchup. Tall, rangy, guy that can box. I think it's, you know, a different style. You know, him beating T.O., you know, that's more of a guy with shorter arms, short guy. You know, athletic, but not the tallest, not the longest, you know, not the best boxer. It's a different style. And I think Richardson Hitchins, you know, has the style to kind of irritate, you know, George Kambosos. That's why I'm leaning his way. But let me know what you guys think in the comment section. Make sure y'all smash the like button, smash the like button, smash the like button. Want to roll to 10K subscribers, hit that subscribe button, turn the post notifications on. Want to find me on any other platform, my link tree is in my bio. Follow my X at Visually, follow my TikTok at LOE.visuals, and follow my Facebook at LOE Visuals. I love you guys so much, so much, so much, so much, so much. I'm out.